And next, I would like to introduce you to our extension agent for the Arlington and City of Alexandria program, Kirsten Conrad.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Leslie, and thank you to our other Master Gardener presenters who you're going to be hearing from tonight, who are really the stars of this show. Thank you for joining us tonight to learn more about our volunteer training program. This year's, we've had more interest this year than I think we've ever had before. And that's a wonderful tribute to the excellent work that our current and past Master Gardener volunteers have done. Virginia Cooperative Extension is a local resource that operates with the support of Virginia State University and Virginia Tech. And I'd like to tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. And of course, as Leslie says, enter your questions in the chat box if you have any, and we'll have time for discussion at the end. We are a program that has been in existence here in Arlington since 1979, when it was first initially started here. The program started with a demonstration garden and a volunteer training. And the pictures here show our shade quarry garden, which was our very first demonstration garden, which is in the Bonnier Park area of Arlington. And the picture on the right shows Master Gardener Paul Noon teaching at the Glen Carlin Library Garden in Arlington. And this is what we do. This is what you will do as an Extension Master Gardener. You will be an educator, you'll be a teacher, and you'll be about the business of sharing research-based education with the public. And this is a wonderful, wonderful thing that will especially appeal to those of you who are lifelong learners and who like to share your information with others. I think you're going to find that this world of Master Gardening is larger than you thought it was. In the world of the field of horticulture is an area where we all have much to learn. I've been in this job here now for 14 years, and it's been a real privilege to work with the wonderful Master Gardener volunteers who are so passionate and so dedicated to this work. We are an excellent program, an award-winning program that has garnered many, many accolades over the years. You're going to hear from some of these individuals tonight, but we have had the privilege of being recognized for the work of Master Gardeners and Extension Master Gardeners in Arlington, in Alexandria. One of the pictures there on the top left is of the George Mason Green Patriot Award. And of course, in 2019, we somehow were entered into the Best of Arlington competition and were named the best source of free gardening education. I thought that was wonderful. And of course, Elaine Mills at the bottom and Judy Funderburg are both recipients of the Bill Thomas Award, and Joyce Hilton, who all of you will work with, who I sadly did not have a picture there in the presentation here, was the recipient of Alexandria's Alan Pickering Award last year. And so we're very, very proud. I'm very, very proud of the work that these volunteers are doing and of the high quality of the experience that you're going to have here working with them. My extension program is called Agriculture Natural Resources. It is heavily focused on horticulture and landscape pest management practices. My work is primarily in 3 different areas. One of them is natural resource conservation at the top there. One of them is the environmental horticulture part, which is to the left there. And of course, I do a lot of work with the green industry, the service providers, the arborists, the pesticide applicators, and the nursery landscape vendors that work with serve our area. Master gardeners are engaged in many of these little circles that are listed here. Certainly they're educating about landscape pest management practices, pesticide reduction, arboriculture is limited to, of course, the study of trees, but the help desk and the plant clinics are addressing a lot of questions about trees. And we have got a growing program working with the Plant Nova natives, as well as with other local partners like tree stewards and master naturalists, as well as our very own small trees make large canopies project. So it's a wide world, and there's truly something for everyone to get engaged with. The Master Gardener program is a statewide program. It has 5 different areas that roughly correspond to the areas that we report in. One of those is the marketing and the value of landscape horticulture and what it does, how it improves our communities. We've got a youth and horticulture division, and we have a growing program working with supporting school gardens and the curriculum development areas that schools are using their gardens for. We've got a wonderful, wonderful, huge presence in the sustainable landscape management education sphere. The education about native plant usage, invasive plant management, reduction of fertilizer use and pesticides is a huge part of what we do and what people come to us to learn about. Of course, the improvement of health and the quality of life and the development of community building tactics that we can all employ in our work is really at its core some of the work that we do. We are really about making Arlington and Alexandria better places for people to live, with cooler environments from trees, better pollinators, fewer pesticides, and so on. And of course, lastly, there's the food production and nutrition education that we do, not only through Extension's A&I program, which is what we do, the Agriculture and Natural Resources, but the Family Consumer Sciences program, which educates about nutrition education and food safety. And of course, the 4-H program that educates about youth leadership development. Some of you may end up getting involved with some of those other programs. We do have much cross-programming that goes on. Very exciting here. So some of the things we do, we educate about wildlife habitat and pest management. There are many, many questions that come to us. What do I do about moles and voles? What do I do about pollinators and bees that are overwhelming my property? How do I deal with snakes, wild animals? And I have to tell you that in the time that I've been here, I've seen a really great change in how people understand their need to coexist with wild animals, and the tremendous growth in the desire of people to share their properties and their gardens with insects, with snakes, and with other wild animals that do no harm. We support the urban agriculture and natural resource management plans, as well as the urban forestry management plans of both Arlington and Alexandria in many different ways. We're providing education about tree fruits. We're providing education about shade trees, flowering trees, native trees. We're helping people to understand how to convert their lawn from lawn and that sort of use to a more sustainable native plant landscape that will support more insects and animals. The natural resource management plans of both jurisdictions include partners that also share the same mission that Master Gardeners share. The Audubon at Home project that Master Gardeners do big site visits as part of is a great resource for the community to learn about how to change their landscape from a non-native invasive plant landscape, which has been the traditional type of landscape here, to one that's more native and more appropriate for Northern Virginia's climate and animals and insects. Plant Nova Natives is a major partner in that effort, as is the Virginia Native Plant Society and other groups. There is a Master Naturalist volunteer group which also is a partner on many of the activities that Master Gardeners do, and we're very pleased to help to present public education with them. One of the very unique things that we do here is to provide a help desk where people come to us with questions about what is this insect, what is this plant disease, what is this, this thing that bit me on the leg, what is this insect that I found in my house. And the bottom line of this education that we do is not only identification, and of course the relating, part of that work is to reduce fear among people and get them greater acceptance with, with the creatures that we share our world with. But it's also about reducing pesticide use. And some of the challenges that we are facing on an increasing basis are to deal with non-native invasive insects and pests. Some of you have already seen or may have read about a new pest called crepe myrtle bark scale. And this is a terrible, awful pest that's going to require pesticide use if people want to keep their non-native crepe myrtles. So another big pest that we've seen a lot of press about. In fact, we have found our first dead spotted lanternfly in Arlington a few days ago. And there's going to be a lot of education, a lot of public outreach on that topic as well. The Urban Agriculture Task Force has been a special project of mine. Is a county organization committee that worked in 2014 and 15 to eventually create an organization called the Friends of Urban Agriculture. And this is coming on the heels of many years of work in this area for me and Master Gardeners to help get people to grow more food and be more sustainable. The Urban Agriculture Summit that took place in 2019 is also taking place next week. And if you're interested in urban agriculture, I encourage you to sign up for that. It's going to be a virtual summit. You don't have to drive down to Petersburg for this event. And of course, we have also put on this a local event some years. And this we will do this again someday. There is now a partnership with the Friends of Urban Agriculture, and this is Urban Agriculture Month, if you don't already know. And if you will go to the Friends of Urban Agriculture website and the Master Gardeners website, you will find a full list of activities that are going on for Urban Agriculture Month. Another big area of outreach for us is the support for the Arlington and Alexandria separate solid waste reduction efforts. Get folks recycling their yard waste, get folks to keep it out of the landfill. And of course, every gardener's best friend is a pile of compost, right? So we encourage people to return that to the earth. And make sure that we are not throwing away this valuable natural gardening resource. The training that you will receive in this class is very broad. It covers everything from basic botany to landscape management, essentially. And there's a lot of topics in between that you may like and you may learn about. You may decide that this is something you're very excited about and you want to become a particular educator of that. But this year's training, which you're going to hear a lot more about tonight, it encompasses many efforts by many different people, and it's truly a team effort. Becoming a VCE volunteer is what becoming a Master Gardener volunteer is all about. You are an extension Master Gardener, and as such, you are a VCE volunteer and you are covered for liability when you are working on an approved activity. We have special training that we are required to provide for all volunteers, including risk management training and civil rights training that ensures that we understand that we have a duty to reach all the as many of the underserved audiences that we can in Arlington and Alexandria. We are required to help folks understand that we are about giving research-based information, science-based education that comes from out of the wonderful research institutions of our country. The training that we give you is only the initial training that you will use to become certified. And after that, we will provide you with many opportunities for continuing education and advanced training that will help you support you in your work. There are approved activities that are listed and reported in our reporting system, which you will learn so much more about. And of course, you are responsible for reporting your own hours and training. One of the very important things that we do here is by sharing knowledge, we are empowering people to take the information that we share with them and advance not only their own knowledge, but advance the betterment of their communities. And we want to make sure that people understand that the title of Extension Master Gardener is not one that is designed for personal gain. It's not something we can use for advocacy or for the endorsement of any particular businesses or politicians for that matter, okay? But we are about empowering the community and providing a service to our fellow residents. Extension certification, this program will take you all the way from training to becoming a certified master gardener. You get a certificate, you get to go to Master Gardener College. There are so many benefits and so many fun things about being an extension volunteer that I think that you will hear from the others that speak tonight about that. The Master Gardeners in Northern Virginia, which we will not talk a lot about tonight, but is a very important partner in this effort. The mgnv.org is their website, and they do an incredible job of doing online outreach and education and supporting the work of all Extension Master Gardeners through fundraising, through support to extension, through grants and so on. So I'm very proud of them as well and the work that they do, that organization of Master Gardeners that support all of us. This is a group to be reckoned with. I've changed the numbers here a little bit to represent a range of hours and accomplishments that this group does. This is, we're in strange times right now with COVID, but we have had as many as 19,000 service hours in a single year. Continuing education hours generally run around 4,000, 5,000 hours a year. And those are the hours that the Extension Master Gardeners in our program have devoted to learning more about what they do. The social media team is a big outreach effort. Help desk and plant clinics are where we're giving direct one-on-one advice to the members of the public. And of course, the demo garden hours are a big source, and there's 6 of them now, I believe. Youth gardening projects are another area which we are trying to expand because there's a real need and demand for those services. And of course, there are many community events that we participate in who have come to depend on us for doing our wonderful, having a wonderful presence there. Horticulture help desk, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best thing, one of the best things we do, sorry. But it is the best thing for me because it's always something I'm learning, something every single day we have this. And this operates out of the Arlington Community Center. They have microscopes, they've got, they train people how to use computer resources to find answers to questions. What is this bug? What is this plant disease? And so on. And of course, we have the resources of Virginia Tech at our disposal in the labs that back us up. Lots of questions come to us, and I'm telling you, it's just a fabulous place to learn. Everything from house plants to fungi. And this has been a really great fun thing to do. Online outreach, we have an award-winning team of Master Gardeners that work on the mgnv.org website. They are fabulous resources from tried and true native plants. They have a Facebook coordinator. They've got other social media. They help support the posting of training materials and the publicity for all of us. Great work they're doing. Demonstration gardens you're going to hear more about, but we have something in every nook and cranny of our community. Community special events, we talked about those already, but there's lots of them that we do. This particular one is a kickoff for the Arlington Spring Garden Kickoff, which is, you know, this is a typical public education display that we put together and man the table and let the public come around and ask questions. This project at the Central Library has been going on for about 6 years now, I guess, 7 years. It kind of, we did public education in conjunction with the garden, which is located at the Arlington Central Library. The garden is maintained by Plot Against Hunger volunteers, and we did the education primarily. And it was a wonderful group effort, partnership. Another partnership in Alexandria, this is with the Alexandria Redevelopment and Housing Authority, with the Ruby Tucker Community Center. And about 12 years ago, we kicked off an event there to build a community garden where there had not been a community garden before. And we have, that program is still going on thanks to a couple of devoted Master Gardener volunteers who have led that from this very beginning. Youth school garden education, we are expanding into, we had 5 school gardens that we were supporting last year in conjunction with 4-H Master Gardener, Junior Master Gardener efforts. And we are expanding in both Arlington and Alexandria to help provide technical support to teachers who use this as a resource, but also to provide programming directly to the kids. The Good Neighbor and Neighborhood Champions outreach effort is a network of neighborhood-based outreach that shares information about pesticide management. It shares information about street trees and tree planting. And this is something that I think is has real potential to expand. Arlington Home Show and Garden Expo is another event that we support with the Columbia Pike Revitalization Organization. And it's been a wonderful partnership for a long time there, and I'm really pleased to see it continuing. This is the Alexandria Earth Day event. It's an old picture, but we are not in that, oh yeah, it's the same place. But usually we have a big table, a big tent there, and put up a place for people to come and get free seeds. One of our most wonderful projects that we have is a seed donation effort that has been led by one of our Master Gardeners for about, I think about 5 years now. Where we get seed donations from big companies, and then we turn around and give them away to the public. County Fair has 2 components that Master Gardeners are engaged in. This is the flower and vegetable competitive exhibits, where they actually bring in the produce for judging. We also provide the judges for that event. The fair booth, Master Gardeners are a very big draw at the county fair, and they are an important part of our overall extension fair booth. Urban Agriculture Symposium, we talked about that already, but this has been, I think, part of how this program has grown in Arlington. I'm very proud of that effort. Master Gardeners have a continuing education committee, which does a great job of promoting and providing different kinds of opportunities for Master Gardeners to learn about what they do in the community, what the community does for them and for us too. So the risk management training is provided both internally as well as externally, and those opportunities will come down the pipe to you on a regular basis. It's a great thing being an extension volunteer. I was a master gardener in Indiana many years ago, 1992, 94, 89 to 92, I think it was, in Monroe County in Indiana. And it was a fabulous place to get started in this kind of work. And this is a great place to be. So welcome tonight. I want to also tell you that we are a great group that loves doing things together. This is a picture of us at one of the Master Gardener intern gardens, doing site visits and home visits, which are just really great fun for all of us, for everybody involved. And of course, some of the folks take it to a whole new level. This is the group of folks that provide the plant clinic at the Alexandria's Old Town Farmers Market. And they meet for a breakfast on the first Saturday of the off months when the farmers market is not in session. So what can I say to you? We are empowering communities. We are sharing knowledge that we gain here and that we're learning and that we are passing along from other institutions. And I'm very proud to be able to work with all of these wonderful, passionate volunteers, and I hope they're going to join us. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Kirsten. So Kirsten gave you kind of a nice broad perspective of what we're out doing in our community. So tonight, folks, I'm going to talk to you about the kind of the nuts and bolts of the program, so kind of the details and such forth. So first thing I want to say is I took the class in 2015. I came in as a master gardener with no gardening experience at all. So I just wanted you guys to know up front that you don't need to be an experienced gardener in order to participate in this program. I started working for the program in 2017, and it's been wonderful to work with such a wonderful group of volunteers. So I'm going to start off by talking about the phrase master gardener volunteer, and that a lot of people look at that phrase and they think to themselves, great, I'm going to be a master of gardening. I'm going to know everything there is to know. And I think what we all pretty much find out quickly in the training is there's so much to know, and you will be a lifelong learner. So you may master a small portion of gardening that's like a particular interest to you, but you will be learning your whole life long when it comes to gardening. Other people look at the term master gardener volunteer and they think, well, of course, gardener is the most important word in that phrase. And it's true, you will do gardening, but gardening is also something you can do at your home. So that is not really what this program is about. So really the most important phrase in this presentation is, and I think I just skipped it, it's volunteer. So a volunteer is really what you are signing up to be when you are signing up for this program. You will be volunteering to garden. You'll be volunteering to share education. And that's really the most important word in that phrase. So now we'll move on to our application process. We will be opening the application process on October 11th. So that's next Monday. I will email everybody who registered a detailed kind of step-by-step process, including a link that will get you to the area where you will start your application process. So it will also, the information will also be posted on our website, mgnv.org. That stands for Master Gardeners of Northern Virginia. So if for some reason you don't see that email show up on Monday, go ahead and check out mgnv.org too. The application process is, we're starting something new this year. So part of it will be completed online and then part of it will be done on paper or electronically as we have always done. So you will complete the online part in Better Impact, which I'll talk about in more detail coming up. And then our questionnaire and our volunteer agreement will be done on paper. You'll turn in your complete applications to me. You can either PDF them and email them to me, or you can write on the paper and bring it to me at our office, or you can mail them to me. And I will include those details on how to do that in the instructions that will be sent out. We will not be reviewing the applications until they're complete. So if you just do the online portion, but you don't do the questionnaire and the volunteer agreement, then I will not start reviewing your application until those other parts come in. So just do be aware of that. And we'll be collecting applications through November 12th. So you have about a month to get it done. And we will start interviewing basically as soon as we see that we're receiving qualified applicants. So we're not going to wait till November 12th to start the interviews. Those will start much sooner. And we hope to be done with interviewing by late November, early December. We are currently planning to take about 20 trainees. We had 22 trainees last class, and that was a good number for us. It allowed us to Zoom, kind of stay on one screen. And when we got together for hands-on in-person training, it was a manageable number since we are still dealing with COVID restrictions. So not being able to anticipate, where we will be come spring, we're planning to pretty much do that same thing. So if you are accepted into the program, we will let you know no later than early January, but hopefully more like mid-December. I was able to give announcements about mid-December last year. And then in order to save your spot in the class at that time, your payment will be due. And we will give you additional information about that when we get to that point. But do understand that in order to reserve your class spot, you will have to submit your payment. We do have a wait list, and we usually have a pretty fair sized wait list. And the cost is $255 for the Arlington and City of Alexandria residents and $305 for non-residents. I definitely want to tell you that we have partial scholarships available. So we do not want cost to prohibit anybody from taking the class. So if you are somebody who needs scholarship assistance, then you will just fill out a scholarship application when you're completing your application paperwork and submit that at the same time. All right, so for some of the class details, we plan to do a very similar program to what we did last year. And we use the Canvas learning platform. If you have kids in Arlington Public Schools, and I think Alexandria too, everybody's using Canvas now. So we were kind of right on board with that. And basically that you'll go to that learning platform and you'll watch usually 2 pre-recorded subject matter presentations a week. So that's about 2 hours per presentation for about a total of 4 hours weekly. And then we will be meeting on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. And that's where you will have a chance to get to know your classmates, to have question and answer sessions with the speaker. So to interact with the speaker who did the recorded presentation. That way you'll have a chance for that. And I do like to just say, plan to have your cameras on during those sessions, during that 2 hours. I know even right now, at 7 o'clock at night, you might want to turn your camera off. But for our classes, we do ask people to be engaged and we want to see each other. So that is kind of part of our attendance requirement. And you can see the dates that we are planning on for right now. We would be starting February 8th, and we have 10 Tuesdays listed. And then we're hoping to have 3 Saturday get-togethers in person where we can go out, be hands-on and see things in person. And so we've got the potential dates listed there. And I do want to mention too that there is homework and reading each week about 3 to 5 hours. So you can see that this all really adds up. When we were in person classes, live, you'd come and you'd sit in your class all day, and then your homework would just be the reading. So it feels like a little bit more homework because you're watching the recorded presentations at home, but that's just basically substituting for our previous class time. All right, this is just a little peek at what our Canvas platform looks like. You can see it's pretty much like any other user-friendly web page. Each week we have a module, and if you can see my cursor right here, I'm circling it. So for each week we have a module, and it includes things like it'll tell you your homework assignments, it'll give you the class agenda for the day, It tells you what your topics are and gives you information on that. And then we also did have quizzes to make sure that you're staying up on your reading each week. So that's all part of the class. And if we have time at the end and folks are interested in seeing a little more about what the Canvas platform looks like, I can show that when we're done. All right, so for the application process, as I said, I will be providing a link and that will bring you to our initial page here. Better Impact is a new system to us this year, and it will be the first time we're using it for the application process. So you'll come here and you'll create your username and email address. And then the next thing that will happen, you will just enter some general contact information. And I do want to point out that you can see these tiny little flags here, and those are things that require our required fields. So you'll have to fill in that information. There's also, we'll see a little later, a little symbol here that looks like an eye in a box. And that is something that you can click on to get more information. So I'll show you that in just a minute. The first thing after you fill in that general information will be in a general availability area. And this, I want to just make sure everybody understands that this is not committing you to these times. This is just to help us get a feel for what time of days you might be available. So we are kind of looking forward about scheduling things. So again, that filling that in is helpful to us, and it does not commit you to any particular times. Next, I want to let you know there's two sections that are in this online application that you will skip, and that is the About You and the Experience section. You can fill that in if you want to, but we capture that information on our questionnaire, so you don't need to fill that in. But you do need to scroll past that and go to those sections below it, which is where we'll gather information on references, demographic data. And I do want to let you know that all of our volunteers undergo a background check. So if you commit to taking the program, you are agreeing to undergo a background check. It's a basic background check. And lastly, there's standards of conduct, and that is something that has like an information box next to it, so you can click on it and find out just what those are. This is what our questionnaire looks like. So this is something you're going to be receiving in a PDF form. Like I said, you can either print it out and write on it. If you have a PDF writer, you can write right into it. And then you can either scan it and send it back to me, or you can mail it, drop it off, whatever works best. So I do want to tell you that this is an important part of the application process. This is where we get to know you. You'll tell us about your gardening background. And again, you don't need to be an experienced gardener to join the program. You'll share if you have any other volunteer experience, if you have gardening skills or special interest. And you'll also tell us about non-gardening skills, such as, are you proficient with computer use? Do you know how to work on social media platforms? Those are skills that do you have a financial background? These are skills that you may not think you would use in a gardening program, but we're such a wide reaching program that we actually would love to have people with those skills join us. And this is where we get to know you. And this is really one of the main things we look at to start with when we're determining whether or not somebody will proceed into the interview process. So we've gotten back questionnaires that just had one-word answers. When we have 40 applicants for 20 spots and somebody's taken the time to really give us some good information, then we will choose those people over somebody who just maybe gave us like one-word answers. So just be aware of that when you're filling out the questionnaire. And lastly is our volunteer agreement. And Kirsten covered some of that, the requirements there in her portion of the presentation. But this is where you're basically agreeing to attend the classes and to complete your internship. We don't want to have people that just come to the classes and then leave the program without, completing their internship. And your internship, I'll talk about that a little bit. It's comprised of these couple main areas right here that you can see. Demonstration gardens we have work days on weekends and weekdays. So if you're working, there are still opportunities for you to get to demo gardens. Our Extension Master Gardener Help Desk, it operates on weekdays only. So that is something that we want folks who work to be aware of. You would come, we usually have interns do 3 sessions at our help desk. And so each of those sessions is about 3 hours each. And that's a weekday commitment. So most folks come in once in the winter, once in the spring, once in the summer. So it's not overly challenging, as long as your work schedule would allow you to miss basically 3 half days. And then our plant clinics operate on the weekends, so that, and we have one that operates on Wednesday evenings. And lastly, our intern projects, they vary greatly each year. And so you are given details. We usually provide you with a list of intern projects, and then you have the details so you can pick something that works for you. So that's mainly how you will be spending your 60 hours of your internship time. And then the other thing we want you to understand is once you are a certified master gardener, you're agreeing to complete your annual re-enrollment. You'll take risk management and civil rights every 3 years. And every year, all of our master gardeners complete 20 hours of volunteer time and 8 hours of continuing education. And after you've just done a 60-hour internship, the 20 hours seems quite easy. Everybody's usually very excited to be like, wow, I only have to do 20 hours next year. That will be easy. And we provide you with continuing education opportunities. So it's not like you're just out there looking for those yourself. We have a continuing education committee that actually puts on almost monthly opportunities. We just went to the Smithsonian Garden, which was really fun. And so you don't need to worry about that. There'll be plenty of opportunities for that. All right, so when I get to this slide, after I've talked about all these requirements and things you have to do and online application, you may be asking yourself, why would I want to be a master gardener? And I just want to say that master gardeners are part of Virginia Cooperative Extension group of volunteers. And Virginia Cooperative Extension just does so many things to help out in our communities. We have 4-H volunteers, master finance volunteers, master food volunteers. So they're just really helping people, save money, learn healthy nutrition, develop leadership in our youth. So you'll be a part of that overarching organization. We do great work. I'm excited about our mission that's like basically protecting our planet. And it is a wonderful feeling when we can share best management practices that help our friends and neighbors and communities learn to do things like grow food and do it successfully. So I find that to be pretty exciting. And I don't know if you've been getting outside during COVID, but just the joy of seeing things growing, watching it week to week, growing your own food, there's definitely a great amount of joy and peace in that opportunity. But mostly, I would say the best thing about this program is our community. And it's just such a vibrant community. You will get to meet a couple master gardeners here in just a few minutes. And we are all here because we want to be here and we're interested in this topic and taking care of our planet and sharing this knowledge. So it's just lovely to be a part of that group and around people who want to do that with you. So next up, we're going to have some of our volunteers speak to you, including a couple interns who just went through this class. And I'm going to proceed here onto our next slide. And I see our first speaker is entering our waiting room. So hang on 1 minute.
I'm really happy to be here and to talk about our demonstration gardens as a whole. We have a number of demonstration gardens, and I'm interested to see this slide because I see that 2 of them, the 2 at Fairlington, have been grouped together. I was planning to say we have 7 demonstration gardens, but I'm going to say we have 6 if you count 2 at Fairlington. Most demonstration gardens are the way that we are able to actually do some gardening as master gardeners, as opposed to talking about gardening. But we do so much more than simply dig in the dirt. in the demonstration gardens, we both spend time learning and teaching. And it's a really wonderful way to connect with other masters. We have a number of demonstration gardens spread around Arlington and Alexandria. We have the Simpson garden down in Alexandria, and then we have the two gardens that are fairly close to each other, close to the Bon Air Rose Garden. We have the Sunny Garden and the Shade Quarry Garden. We have a dynamite organic vegetable garden at Potomac Overlook. And then I think I already mentioned the two at Fairlington. When we have the work parties, we invite any master gardener to come work on whatever is going on in the garden at that time. I cannot speak for all the other gardens, but I know that at Glen Carlin, we always start with a walk around the garden for anyone who's new. We want people to get acquainted with the garden. We like to pair people up when they work in the garden. We often have some various learning things going on as we are gardening. If one of us finds an interesting insect or a plant with a disease or whatever, we're going to walk around, make sure all the other gardeners see it. And then we're always thinking about what can we do to make the garden be even better for teaching the public. All of the gardens have worked on signage so that when we aren't there, people can come into the garden and learn a lot. The big thing about the gardens is that it is the best place to simply demonstrate what grows well in our area and show some of the things that do work. Sometimes the things that don't work are just as helpful. And that's what we do. With 20 hours, I believe it's still 20 hours of time that interns need to spend in the demonstration gardens. That's a lot of time during your internship to spend in the gardens. And we want you to get to know them and learn from them. I always advise people during your internship, try to go to a work party at each garden. The gardens generally have work parties once a week. They tend to be on different days so that you can choose what'll work for you. And you get around and you see what works for you. Sometimes people really like a garden because it's close to where they live, but sometimes there's some other aspect of the garden that speaks to them and starts bringing them back. And that's really what we coordinators are always trying to do. We know that you as an intern need to put in a lot of time in the demonstration gardens, and we want you to have such a good experience at the demonstration garden that you'll keep coming back and helping us make those gardens look beautiful. All the gardens have some extra activities during the year. Sometimes it's just an open house. The organic vegetable garden has an annual Pepper Fest, which actually happened just a few weeks ago. I was there. It was really delightful. They had all sorts of tastes of things made with peppers. Our garden that I'm one of the coordinators at, Glen Carlin, does 2 events a year. We do a spring plant sale, and we just week and a half ago had our Autumn Fest event, which is a lot of fun with herbal treats to taste, with a naturalist there, with 3 different lectures. This year, 2 of the lectures were by interns working on their projects. So we had a lot of fun. We also have, at Glen Carlin, we have a line of videos that we keep making. And some of our most recent videos that are available to the public are interns talking about gardening for climate change. So there's all sorts of great ways to learn various techniques, learn more about the plants you don't know, and demonstrate some of these things at the demonstration gardens. Leslie, am I leaving anything out?
Thank you. No, just tell us, what's your favorite thing about being a master gardener?
I love helping people. I love being able to answer a question. If somebody doesn't know something and asks me a question, I love to be able to give them an answer. And I do feel that it's kind of my mission in life to help people fall in love with a native plant. I don't feel like I have to get them to fall in love with every native plant, but I think I can start them on the route to loving native plants.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Alyssa. All right, let's see if I can get to our next slide. All right, next up we have Ann Reed. She's from our class of 2017, and she is one of our help desk regulars, and I'm happy to introduce her.
Good evening, everyone. I know we've talked a little bit about the help desk, but I'm going to give you a little more nitty-gritty info about it. So the help desk is located in the Virginia Cooperative Extension office, which is at Arlington Community Center on South Stafford Street in Arlington. It is open 5 days a week from 9 to 12. And the point of being there is that volunteers at the help desk respond to public inquiries. So what services does the help desk provide? The services the help desk provide are responses to either client emails, phone calls, or walk-ins. And those questions they have are generally about all kinds of topics: plant identification, insect identification, plant disease, soil health, insect damage, landscaping guidance, support for vegetable and herb gardening, growing outside in containers, and also indoor plants. We recommend the use of native plantings to gardeners. We also maintain a seed bank there, and we have access, as was mentioned, to a microscope to identify those little critters that people come in that should be dead and sometimes aren't. Who supports our volunteer efforts? I think it's important to say something about that. We work closely with our extension agent, Kirsten Conrad, to communicate current environmental, disease, or invasive problems in our area, such as this summer. It was so much about crepe myrtle bark scale, and also in the spring, preparing the world in Northern Virginia for the cicada invasion. Usually 2 master gardeners work the help desk each day. And of course, we work closely with our coordinator, Leslie, to train interns of the Master Gardener program. So it was mentioned about the requirement for the EMG certification. So once you have passed the classroom expectation and the exam, and you begin that intern requirement, 9 hours of successful training at the help desk is required. Now, there are all kinds of opportunities in every venue of Master Gardening certification. One of the strengths of help desk training is its focus on critical thinking and questioning through research-based sources. Not only do volunteers provide research-based answers to public inquiries, but these answers, the purpose is to teach the public horticultural best management practices. My favorite part of becoming an Extension Master Gardener has been meeting other people who care about the future of our natural world. You'll become close to others in your class through on-site experiences and your intern project. Welcome that camaraderie, because its richness will make an amazing difference in your life and in the communities that we all serve. Second, you will also learn that one program interest, help desk, demonstration gardens, or one adventure you take will lead to another and another and another until you develop what I now call a brain root. That's right, root. That is, your brain is rooted in, of all things, the science of gardening now. You're going to learn that the process of horticulture is critical to the viable products of gardening, such as things we always see, the products, vegetables, flowers, etc. Now, my help desk story is one that I have been fired up about for a long time. So during my internship, I look forward to every opportunity to learn. For most of my life, I had dabbled in gardening. So entering the program, I quickly admitted that I had limited knowledge and limited experience. So fulfilling the requirements over the following months went very smoothly and very eagerly on my part until I attended my first help desk training session. Bam! The help desk was formidable to me. After the first training session, I realized I really did need to know what I'm doing if I'm going to be a volunteer at the help desk in the future, as well as just becoming a useful volunteer. But how was I supposed to respond to questions about soil when all I remembered from the intense training was that pH was somewhere between acidic and alkaline? Those 9 hours were one of the hardest things I have ever done, and I am a teacher. Oh, I lived in awe of the help desk trainers. I call them the gods of gardening. One of the trainers was Joyce Hilton, and she is the lead on the help desk, whom you will meet at some point. I was so frustrated during my last training session, I shared with her that I could never volunteer at the help desk if I became certified because I was afraid I would make mistakes and guide the public incorrectly. I just didn't know enough at that point. And I'll never forget what Joyce said. She said, if you want to learn about gardening, volunteer at the help desk every week, and you can do the research. And the moral of this story is Joyce was right. And I have learned so much in the past 4 years. Finally, if you would ask my opinion about Master Gardener certification, I would say embrace every opportunity in the program, not just the ones that you're already interested in. Challenge yourself, seek to serve our community. The things you are going to learn, man, it's going to break your brain sometimes, but oh, what a difference you're going to make in the world as an Extension Master Gardener. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Anne. All right, next up, we have Angela McNamara. She's going to talk to, she's our board liaison to the plant clinics, and very excitingly, she and her co-garden lead, Leslie Cameron, kickstarted a plant clinic, which Anne Reed is now helping run at the Arlington Community Center with 2 other additional volunteers. So it's very exciting. It's all new, it's happening. It's been great to see that go. So Angela, go ahead.
Thank you, Leslie. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Angela McNamara, and as Leslie said, I'm going to talk about our plant clinics. So what are plant clinics? Plant clinics are our in-person version of a help desk. And as you can imagine, people are walking up and asking you in-person questions about plants, about gardening, about their soil, about when to plant a plant, and can I put my green beans in the ground now, or how do I plant a green bean? So we answer questions at the plant clinics that the general community has about gardening and plants. But as you can also imagine, we don't necessarily have all the answers because it's very much real-time questions and real-time answers. And so we rely on the help desk that Anne Reed just talked about to be our backup for more research that's needed, better scientific information than we happen to remember from our training, and that we can rely upon. So although help desks are an in-person opportunity to answer questions and to engage with the general public about plant issues and questions, we have a very fantastic help desk that Kirsten talked about and Anne Reed talked about that sort of back us up and provide additional information. We have several plant clinics around Arlington and Alexandria. Most of these are co-located with our farmers markets, and they operate during the spring, summer, and fall when really plant issues come up and people have questions about plants. 2 of them are in Alexandria, the Delray Farmers Market and the Old Town Alexandria Farmers Market. 2 of them are at farmers markets in Arlington, one at the Arlington Courthouse Farmers Market and the other at the Fairlington Farmers Market, the newest one that Leslie just mentioned that we just started inadvertently, I'll point out, we have a demonstration garden there, and we decided to have our working hours this year for the first time during the farmer's market, because it's right there, right by the farmer's market, to give people an opportunity to walk in, see the garden. And they were asked, so many people came in and asked so many questions that we literally couldn't pull a weed or get a shovel in the ground to do any gardening work. So I complained about that at several meetings of the board and to the Master Gardener community at large. And Ann Reed and 2 other Master Gardeners stepped up and said, we'll run a plant clinic so you can get some gardening work done. So it's been great and very much needed and well received by the community in Fairlington. And then our last help desk, plant clinic rather, is at the Arlington Central Library, which has usually, I believe, Wednesday evening hours, which I did almost all of my plant clinic time as an intern at the Arlington Central Library, because it was very convenient for me because I work full time. So it was easy for me to go from work and do my plant clinic time there. Unfortunately, it has not operated since COVID started. That is a picture of it there on the bottom left. So you can see a picture of the folks at the Central Library staffing that particular table where people walk up and ask questions. So that's the gist about their plant clinics, what they do, where they are, and how they work. You get an opportunity to learn about plant diagnosis, diagnosing issues with pests and all the things that can happen to plants, and when you go through your training. You also get some in-person time at the plant clinics and at the help desk to learn how to research and answer the types of questions that come up. And then when you are a certified Master Gardener, you still have an opportunity to volunteer, to do some of your volunteer time working at those plant clinics. And we hope that you will think about doing that. So that's it for plant clinics. What do I like about being a Master Gardener? Well, I definitely feel as though I found my tribe. I love working with all the Master Gardeners that you've seen today and that you're going to see more and hear more of after me. I love helping people with questions and problems that they're having about plants. And I especially appreciate how much the community appreciates what we do. It's a pleasure to help them. And we look forward to having you join us. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Angela. Next up, Elaine Mills is going to tell us a little bit about the mentor program, which is something that we offer to our interns. And I do want to, Elaine is on the mentor committee, but she's a very wide-ranging, knowledgeable Master Gardener. She is a co-coordinator with Alyssa at the Glen Carlin Community Garden. She teaches, I do recognize some of your names. I know you've joined us for Friday public education classes, and you've seen Elaine speak on native plants and benefits of native plants. And she's also on our social media committee.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Yes, welcome everyone. Good evening. I'm a member of the 2012 training class. Alyssa, who you just heard a few moments ago, was a classmate, and we are 2 of the 5 coordinators of the Glen Carlin demonstration garden. And as Leslie mentioned, I really enjoy giving public education presentations. I've probably given about a dozen of them in the last year and a half. As a member of the social media committee, I enjoy taking photographs, writing articles about many different aspects of gardening. I have 2 regular series of posts that I put up on our Master Gardeners of Northern Virginia Facebook page each week. And I also have daily Instagram and Twitter posts on native plants. Back in, I guess, starting in 2014, I was fairly recently certified. I was invited to join the board of Master Gardeners of Northern Virginia, our nonprofit support group. The one thing that all of these volunteer activities have in common is that I felt a real sense of comradeship and community. It was just so uplifting, such a pleasure to work with a wonderful group of creative, talented, enthusiastic people who, as all of the others who have spoken before me have said, we're all working just to better our wider community, to better the world. So one of the things that we do to really help boost the community, the building of community from the very start, is our mentor program. And the way this works is that every member of a new training class will be matched with a certified master gardener. Quite often, we'll look at someone's application, see that person's interest areas, and try to match that person with a mentor who maybe has some of the same interests. It just helps you get off to a good start to have some things in common. We also sometimes look to see if we can match people, a mentor and a trainee who live in the same general area. That would allow them to perhaps attend work parties together, other activities. Again, just gives you, facilitates the connection. Now, one interesting thing that we started doing this past year was to actually match several members of the new class with a single mentor. That meant that, in a sense, you were building your own little mini community. Because we were dealing with the situation of COVID, there weren't as many opportunities to meet in person. Just perhaps having a Zoom session or an outside session with 2 or 3 people in a small group just allowed the building of a bonds and community. The way the association between mentors and trainees work is you'll get matched from the very beginning of your training, and that mentor will be available not so much to answer technical gardening questions, but just to be a resource for you, to help you work your way through all the different steps of certification. Just check in with you periodically, maybe be a resource for guidance on your intern project. And you'll find that that person can maybe even, once you've certified, help you find a committee, a garden that you might enjoy working with, just to continue your beneficial experience. So I hope that many of you will consider applying for the program, joining our community. I will probably be one of the mentors assisting Leslie in the interview process. So I hope I'll get to meet some of you then, and perhaps I'll be matched with several of you this coming winter.
All right, thank you so much, Elaine. And last but not least, we're going to hear from a couple of our interns. So they just went through the program last spring. And so they can give you a little inside perspective on maybe what they found challenging, what they really liked about it, using Canvas. And so we'll start, is Tiffany Frazier ready?
Yes, well, I can't say enough good things about the program, but I am Tiffany Frazier, and in the class of 2021, I actually just became a certified master gardener in the past week. So I'm like seriously excited. Can't get used to this idea. It's a lot of work, you know, and so you should be, you know, warned, but excited by that. I had first learned about the Master Gardener program because I'm a still novice, avid vegetable and herb gardener. And I learned about the program through the Virginia Tech Extension site. And because a neighbor of mine had been a master gardener in another state, actually. And I entered early retirement at the beginning of 2020. And I was, you know, thinking, gosh, you know, I just dug into sort of the master gardener thing a bit and just got more excited the more I looked at it. And as I said, I really can't say enough good things about the program. The more I learned that not only does it deal with gardening, but the whole research and public education and mentoring aspects of it resonated with me. My background itself is a PhD in computer science, very far from gardening, but did a lot of research all through my career. So, you know, I'm comfortable with the concept of, you know, you really learn when you get a PhD how much you don't know. And that's a lot of what the master gardening is like. You learn and you learn and you learn and you learn how much you don't know, but that is also part of the fun. You do learn how to go out and get the information. There's this incredible community, the resources at the Master Gardener Northern Virginia site, you name it, is amazing. So the program itself, I mean, the training, Canvas site was great. And the virtual aspect was quite terrific. I never, you know, I mean, know a thing or two about computers, and yet the proficiency at having all this material ready and available online was fabulous. And so there were the presentations, we had the Q&A sessions, the Zoom meetings. The breadth and depth of material really exceeded my expectations. Despite all the computer ease, there was nothing more exciting for me than taking this huge, heavy bag of the Master Gardener Handbook and the Pest Management Guide and trees and all of this stuff home and like unboxing it on my table. I was just so thrilled. So I like paper also. The pace is challenging. Keeping up was hard. But I'm also the sort of person that likes to take copious notes when I'm reading and when I'm listening to presentations. So I know I kind of contributed to how much extra work that ends up being. But it was absolutely just fascinating. It was great. Let's see here. Some of the things that I found that ended up being sort of my favorite is, never mind the training was fabulous. I love the diversity of activities that are available. I mean, it makes your head spin how many different things you could do. You know, for me, on a couple of the extra volunteering things I did beyond the intern program itself is I could actually spend time nerding out in Excel and help out the help desk, you know, and retooling the contact log there. I really enjoyed that. And I was thrilled to death last week to actually go and sit in the help desk and actually use the spreadsheet that I had worked on. And on the other hand, my, you know, standalone, one of my absolute favorite things was working at Simpson Gardens. I mean, as soon as it was open in the middle of March, you know, I was there at Tuesday, you know, every Tuesday. In fact, I finished my 20 hours by the end of May. And of course, I just kept going, right? Because the whole community was just fabulous. So, you know, I could nerd out in Excel and I could dig in the dirt. It was really quite fabulous. And then I ended up with just all sorts of new areas of interest besides vegetable and herb gardening. I mean, there's so much there, but you know, it's really expanded my interest in sustainability and native plants and restoration and permaculture. And it just, you know, I can geek out on many more things now. What's not to love?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany, and congratulations. Very exciting. She just certified. It's just so much fun when we get to celebrate those accomplishments. So next up, we're going to turn to Elizabeth Culleton.
Hi, Leslie. Can you see me or hear me? Okay, great. Hi, everybody. I am a classmate of Tiffany's. I'm very proud of you, Tiffany, for becoming certified so quickly. That's just awesome. Leslie wanted us to come and talk to you prospective students about what this involves. And I would echo Tiffany that it is a lot of information, but presumably you're taking the class because you're interested in building your knowledge. And this is a really efficient and kind of authoritative way to learn about gardening, learn what's important, learn how to be that public educator in this context. And I think that it's manageable. I mean, there's a lot of information. Tiffany mentioned a couple of the big books. We also were given a number of other pamphlets and smaller books about just about anything you can imagine, you know, native trees, invasive weeds and invasive species, just pretty much every aspect of the gardening ecosystem, you're going to have an opportunity to learn about. And I encourage you to jump at every opportunity. Like Kirsten said, this is an opportunity-rich environment, and no matter what, you know, perspective or level of experience you are coming to this class with, there is some way to leverage your skills and background to the benefit of whatever community you want to work with, at whatever level, at whatever frequency. And I think the most amazing thing is that there are so many people in the Master Gardener community who take you seriously from day one and are there to help you and help you realize your goals. So it's just a fabulous group of people. There's really nothing to add on. The Canvas app is pretty easy. It's just like any other portal. The more you use it, the easier it is to understand. I encourage people to do the reading on schedule and take the book tests and take the online tests as soon as they're available, because it's just, you'd be surprised how quickly each week's batch of knowledge builds on the last part that you just did. And it is important to keep up. For those of you who may, struggle with public presentation or public speaking, Leslie put a project together called the FAQ, and it's these frequently asked questions that each of us was given at the very beginning of the course. And we had, a few weeks to work on a 2 to 3 minute presentation on a particular issue related to gardening, real issues that do come up at the help desk or at plant clinic. And it gives you an opportunity to sort of do some quick academic research and learn how to structure an answer for the public in a pretty concise format. Because I think what you start learning is people come to us with lots and lots of questions, but it's like a TED Talk. They can't really pay attention for like a half-hour treatise. They just sort of want the answer. So it's a really good skill to learn, to know how to, delve into the information, nerd out, as Tiffany said, but then come back and kind of wrap that all up in a very quick elevator pitch to people that will help them, achieve their goals in the gardening context. My internship project is still ongoing, but I'm almost finished, and it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed getting to know my classmate. I think that the most fun part about the internship project was working with my coaches in a really collaborative and sort of open-ended way. They took our ideas seriously. We, of course, took their ideas and experiences seriously. And I think working together, we've come up with something that hopefully will build to, the knowledge and information base of the Master Gardener community, because that's what this is all about. It has just been fantastic. I would just say, I urge you all to take this class. I'm so glad I took it. I think it's a really good way to see that there's a whole different level of activity and leadership opportunity available in your community, across Arlington, across Alexandria. And gardening is just sort of the sort of central hub, and there's so many different ways to make your mark in this particular area. So good luck to you, and fill out that application, and happy gardening.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And last but not least, we have Sabrina. Sabrina, are you able to unmute?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, there you go.
Great, thanks. Yes, I'll be quick because I know we're getting short on time. I work full time, so the online class was perfect for me, and I really did enjoy the Canvas aspect of it. Being COVID time, I have a lot of free time, so this was the perfect year for me to do a class like this. This is something where I always thought I'd have to be retired to become a master gardener, so I was excited to have this opportunity. And I live in a condo, so I don't even have a garden. And kind of based on what other people were saying, you don't have to be an expert. And in my case, you don't even have to have a garden. I just have some pots. So I was really drawn to the Master Gardener program because I wanted to get into different gardens and garden with like-minded people, but also the opportunity to learn from such a wide group of experts. I particularly enjoyed doing the plant clinics, because it gives you that ability to do some real-time help. I've been able to contribute with the little bit of knowledge I have. I've already learned a lot, but then the best part is when you get stumped, you could just tell them to email help desk, and then they can get help from the help desk. So you're not super pressured to always have an answer, but at least know where to point people and help them the best that you can. And my passion is around native plants. So it's been great too. My internship project was with Tiffany actually, and we did a native Nova native plants focused redesign at the Simpson Park. And that's another reason why I was drawn to this program, is I wanted to share my enthusiasm with native plants to help get folks excited about that too. For example, when they come to the plant clinic and they want some ideas. you can always we always point them to native plants as a first choice and try to get them away from the classic liriopes and things like that. So it's been great for me. It's been a lot of a time commitment, as the other folks have said, but it's a lot of fun. So it's a fun time commitment, especially getting outside and being with people. So it's been really great for me.
Thank you, Sabrina. Appreciate it. All right, well, please do feel free. Do you guys have my email address? And again, I will be sending out to start that application process, I'll be sending out details on Monday. And so we thank you for coming. If you have additional questions, once you get going in that application process, feel free to contact me. So I'm happy to help. So thank you again. We're excited to meet you guys and we look forward to learning more about you. And a big shout out to my master gardeners who joined us tonight, my interns who came in and supported, just to show you what a lovely community we have. So good night, everybody.